Hello everyone. Today we will talk about one of the main concepts of cost and management accounting, which is actual versus normal output. This concept forms the basis of fixed and variable overheads. Let's narrate a story to make you understand this concept. Imagine a guy, let's call him Yudhishthir, is driving a car on a highway and he suddenly feels the urge of having a cup of ginger tea. He sees a stall nearby and stops the car. He walks to the guy, who seems to be the owner of the shop, and asks him for a cup of tea. While he is sipping his tea, he notices the condition of the shop. The shop seemed to be in a really bad state, with all the chairs and tables full of dust, as if no one would have been to that shop for quite some time. He starts talking to the owner of the shop, and in order to make him open up, Yudhishthir speaks about himself first. He tells the tea stall owner that how he did his MBA and has done numerous things for the greater good of the society after earning big bucks from his business. Listening to Yudhishthir open up, the tea stall owner tells him how he had opened that tea stall exactly 1 year back and how no one visited that stall until that day. Yudhishthir is very surprised to hear that he is his first customer. After finishing the cup of tea, Yudhishthir asks for the bill. Tea stall owner says that the bill for a cup of tea is 20,015 rupees. Yudhishthir gets very surprised and asks how is his tea can be priced more than a cup of tea at any five-star resort. And saying this, the two get into a big fight. After a long argument between the two, Yudhishthir tells the tea owner that he is very reasonable guy and if the owner can explain why his cup of tea is so costly, he will pay the bill without any argument. Tea owner accepts the deal and breaks the price of the tea for him in two parts, namely fixed and variable cost. Let's go down the fixed cost first. The owner says that in order to operate that tea shop, he has to pay an annual rent which is 19,000 rupees. Further, the cost of table, chair, gas stove, utensils was 6,000 rupees and the estimated life of these things was 6 years. Hence, the annual depreciation comes to rupees 1,000. Let's talk about the variable cost now. The cost of sugar, tea leaves, a cup of water from Bisleri bottle and spices was around 8 rupees. The cost of milk used to make the tea was around 6 rupees. Since he was the only customer that visited him in the entire year, he had to recover all his costs from his annual sale of one cup of tea. And hence the bill was 20,000 fixed cost, 14 rupees variable cost plus 1 rupee profit that he charged, which came down to a bill of 20,015 rupees. Yudhishthir was very surprised. He couldn't think of anything wrong in that argument and was forced to pay the entire amount. Seems off, right? It absolutely does because no one would pay that much for a cup of tea, that too at a roadside stall. While the story is imaginative, it does raise some important questions. Don't companies pass on the cost of their products to the customers? They do. So, what was wrong with the concept of the owner? Take a minute, pause the video, and think what is wrong. Here comes the distinction between the normal and actual output. To put it very simply, variable cost is the only cost that must be divided based on the actual output, which in the above example is rightly done. 14 rupees for 1 cup of tea. But the fixed cost, also known as fixed overheads, must be divided based on normal output and not the actual output. But what exactly is normal output? Normal output is the quantity that is on an average produced and sold by all the companies operating with the similar resources and in the similar conditions. In the above example, it means that if the right cost and therefore the right price of the cup of tea has to be ascertained, It has to be known that how many cups a similar tea stall owner in that area could have sold in 1 year. According to research, the average tea stall guy can sell 4,000 cups of tea every year with the same resources and in the similar condition. So the correct fixed cost to be ascertained with that cup of tea that Yudhishthir had should be 20,000 rupees fixed cost divided by 4,000, which is the normal output, and it comes down to 5 rupees. Hence, the bill should be 20 rupees including the profit and not more. The major reason to find out the normal output is to give credit to the performance of the owner or the business unit. If the business operator or a factory, let's say, is producing below the normal output levels, the loss must be borne by the owner, and under no circumstances it can be passed on to the customers. This is the very fundamental reason why this concept was made in the first place. So do remember, fixed cost always based on the normal output and variable cost based on the actual output. Thank you, and do join in for the more videos.